What if we could reason through complex cases with superhuman accuracy? The future might be closer than you think. While large language models have shown promise, they've largely been specialized tools. But now a new use case is emerging: a general purpose medical AI. Medical reasoning is, well, to put it frankly, incredibly hard. So hard that in order to do it properly, you need a PhD. It depends on the integration of vastly different types of data, a patient's narrative, complex lab results, subtle details in medical imageries like X-rays or CT scans. And AI must not only understand medical language, but it has to also be able to reason across these diverse information sources. Previous models like GPT-4 showed moments of promise, even approaching passing scores on the US Medical Licensing Exam, USMLE, right out of the box. However, they were evaluated primarily on text. Off the page and into the real world, medical is visual, numerical, narrative, all at once. And now we have GPT-5. A new study recently evaluated it, maybe not just as a specialized tool, but also a generalist multimodal reasoner for medical decision support. To test its true capabilities, researchers used a unified and rigorous approach, evaluating its performance on both text and visual tasks without any task-specific fine-tuning. This method isolates the model's core reasoning ability. The AI was put through a gauntlet of standardized medical benchmarks. Test-only questions using MedQA and MMLU Medical, which tests for deep medical knowledge. Visual questions using ViewQA-RAD for radiology image Q&A, and the highly challenging MedExpert QA, which presents complex clinical cases complete with medical images, patient records, and lab results. High-stake reasoning questions were tested with official USMLE self-assessment exams, which is regarded as the gold standard for clinical reasoning. For every question, the model was required to use a zero-shot chain of thought, or COT, reasoning, meaning it had to explain its step-by-step logic before giving a final answer, just like a doctor would when working through a diagnosis. On text-based tasks, the results were insane. On the MedQA US style exam, GPT-5 achieved a 95.8% accuracy, which is nearly a 5-point jump over its predecessor, GPT-4o. In the medical sections of the MMLU benchmark, it showed a near-perfect performance, with significant gains in complex areas like medical genetics and clinical knowledge. And most impressively, on the USMLE self-assessment exams, it scored an average of 95.2%, far exceeding the human passing threshold and outperforming all baseline models. But the real game changer was its multimodal reasoning. In one case study from the MedExpert QA dataset, the model analyzed a patient's CT scan, lab values, and physical symptoms. It correctly identified Boerhaave syndrome, a rare life-threatening perforation of the esophagus. It also recommended the precise diagnostic follow-up, a gastrograph and swallow study, accurately explaining why this water-soluble contrast agent is safer than barium if a leak is suspected. This demonstrates a level of clinical knowledge that's not just pattern recognition. And here's the crazy part, the part we've all been kind of waiting for. The study directly compared the model's performance to that of a human medical expert on the MedExpert QA benchmark. The results were unprecedented. GPT-5 surpassed human experts by over 24% in multimodal reasoning. It surpassed them nearly 30% in multimodal understanding. So, as you can see, this isn't just incremental progress. This is a huge leap. Under these controlled test conditions, the model's ability to integrate text and visual evidence surpassed that of seasoned clinicians. I mean, to put it frankly, what if your doctor had a 24% better understanding of your symptoms and the systems being affected? Now let's be clear, these tests were idealized. Real-world medicine is messy, filled with uncertainty and ethical complexities, really considerations that only humans can navigate. The model isn't ready to replace your doctor. What's interesting is that GPT-5 even scored slightly lower than a smaller model, GPT-5 Mini, on one radiology study or result by about 4 percentage points, which is possibly due to its overly cautious reasoning. However, this study does mark a milestone. A model that can surpass human experts on a complex multimodal medical reasoning exam does represent a quantitative shift in AI capabilities. It shows the potential for AI to serve as a core component for clinical decision support, helping doctors synthesize complex data to evaluate or deliver faster, more accurate recommendations. So what's your take on the future of AI in medicine? Do you see a future where we have AI doctors just fully taking control of decision making and diagnosis and prognosis? Let me know what you think in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.